close your eyes. Let your breath slow. Let the weight of your body sink into the surface beneath you. For a moment, leave behind the world you know, the cities, the screens, the clocks. Return instead to a time before civilization, before writing, before memory itself, a time when the world was young, still forming, and the first humans were not yet what you see today. Long ago, in the fertile valleys of the Tigris and Euphrates, the first scribes, unknown to us by name, pressed their thoughts into soft clay. They did not write histories as we think of them. They wrote in symbols, in patterns, in layers of meaning that could survive the slow erosion of centuries. Among these tablets, preserved in the quiet halls of the British Museum, lie tales that whisper of beginnings we rarely imagine. Tales of attempts, of failures, of beginnings interrupted by calamity. The Atrahasis epic and the Enki and Ninmah narratives are among these whispers. They tell not of a single creation, but of experiments. Early humans were made, yes, but they were not made perfectly. The gods, or forces beyond comprehension, tried again and again. Some of these first beings were flawed. They could not move in ways the gods intended. Some could not reproduce. Some could not survive the harshness of the new world. Imagine, if you will, a river valley, rich and humid, sunlight spilling across reeds and mud. The gods, in their curiosity, shape clay into forms that will walk, breathe, and speak. But the clay is imperfect. Some hands are too large. Some legs do not bend. Some hearts beat weakly and stop before the first step is taken. These beings do not endure. And when they fail, the gods learn. They begin again. There is a quiet horror in imagining such worlds, but also a strange tenderness. Each attempt carries hope. Each failure teaches a lesson. Each erased human, though lost, leaves traces, perhaps in the soil, perhaps in the air, perhaps in memory itself. And after these failed creations, a catastrophe comes, a flood. Not a flood of moral judgment, but a flood of necessity. A reset. Water covers the land. Rivers swell beyond their banks. Valleys become seas. The first humans vanish, dissolved into the muddy waters, leaving only faint impressions in the fertile soil. And yet, as the water recedes, new humans emerge, altered, limited, redesigned. They carry with them the lessons of the past, though they do not know it. They are fewer in number. Their forms are simplified. Their survival is constrained, regulated by forces both seen and unseen. Some scholars see this story as myth. Some see echoes of geological and genetic bottlenecks, moments in human history where populations sharply declined and rebounded. Perhaps there is truth behind the symbol, evidence woven into story. Perhaps these early scribes were chroniclers not only of divine imagination but of real calamities, the floods of centuries past, the fragile forms of early humanity, the sudden blossoming of civilization from catastrophe. As you imagine these scenes, picture a vast plain after the waters retreat. Mud cracks under the first light of dawn. Figures step cautiously, unsure, learning how to stand, how to speak, how to build. The world is quiet, almost fragile. And yet, there is hope. The gods, or whatever forces guided creation, watch, noting each success, each stumble. Trial and error continues, but humanity now survives, limited in number, mindful of the waters that could return. In this narrative, the flood becomes a dividing line, before and after, prototype and perfected form, erased humanity and the humans who follow. Civilization rises not gradually, but suddenly, as if from a collective memory of survival and adaptation. Villages grow, crops are sown, homes are built along the rivers that once tried to sweep the people away. Stories are whispered, then written. Tablets record not only law and trade but memory, myth, and the quiet wonder of existence itself. And the Anunnaki, the enigmatic figures in Sumerian lore, move silently among these pages. Perhaps they are gods, perhaps they are memories of human imagination given form, perhaps they are witnesses to the slow unfolding of life itself. They observe failures and successes alike. They shape and reshape, not out of cruelty, but from experimentation, from learning, from curiosity. Imagine lying in the soft glow of candlelight, listening to this story. Each failed human is not a tragedy but a testament. Each erased generation reminds us of fragility and resilience. Each flood marks not only loss but renewal. And as your eyelids grow heavy, as the shadows of deep time stretch across your mind, you realize that these ancient stories are less about punishment and more about process. About the slow, iterative unfolding of life itself, guided by forces that may or may not be divine, that may or may not be conscious, but that are profoundly aware of what it means to begin, to fail, and to try again. Even now, in the modern world, in the cities and screens and endless motion, the echoes of these first attempts remain. Perhaps in the way we dream, perhaps in the stories we tell, perhaps in the quiet persistence of humanity itself. Each of us carries the legacy of these early experiments, the shadows of erased lives, the wisdom of those who survived catastrophe. So let your mind wander into the river valleys of ancient Mesopotamia. Let the water wash over you, not to frighten but to cleanse. Let the clay of early humans mold in your imagination, flawed yet striving. Let the quiet hum of trial and error, creation and flood, fade gently into sleep. And as you drift, know that the deepest mysteries of humanity, the ones written in mud, whispered in myth, carried through time, are not gone. They are here, in the soft resonance of your mind, in the slow rhythm of your breath, in the quiet assurance that life, no matter how fragile or flawed, continues. Sleep now. Let the oldest questions drift slowly behind your closed eyelids. The first humans, erased and redesigned, wait not in judgment but in memory. And in that memory, you are part of the continuing story, a story that begins and ends only with your dreams.